I'm gonna be honest. I'm not sure I like this background, but this is what's happening right now. It's not too much. It's too much. Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Natalie, and I don't really know what I'm doing. The booktube community brings me immense comfort and joy and cozy vibes when I need them. I want to be a part of it. I think that it's so much fun. So I'm just gonna sit here and ramble and talk a little bit about books, tell you a little bit about myself, and what I'd really like to do in the future is film some reading vlogs, do some challenges, some university studies content. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. This is going to be a super scattered video. Also, sorry for the quality. I'm literally filming this on my MacBook, and I was just eager to get started, so I'm starting this way. Where was I? Oh, yes. So, I'm here with my tea. This is jasmine green tea. It is delicious. And here in my overall pocket, I am currently reading Anne of Avonlea. This is the second book in the Anne of Green Gables series, if you don't know. I'm loving this so far. I'm about halfway through, and it has the best used book smell. I'll show you some more of my current reads. I just started A Little History of Archaeology by Brian Fagan. Yeah, I've literally only read the first 14 pages, so don't have much to say, but archaeology is something that fascinates me, and I'm really excited to learn more about it. I don't think it's the type of book I can read straight through, so I'm gonna read it just in little chunks, just like chapters at a time. Well, I guess you always read books chapters at a time. I'm gonna take my time, and also it's just a very beautiful book. Mwah. Mwah. And I'm also reading the selected poetry of Rainier Maria Rilke, edited and translated by Stephen Mitchell. And this has a beautiful cover. I am absolutely adoring this so far. Similar to the last book, it's a poetry collection, so not something that I'm trying to read through really fast. I'm trying to take my time with this and really enjoy it, and I think that this is going to be a new favorite of mine. Beauty. Absolute beauty. This I've been reading for far too long. It is The Literary Theory, A Very Short Introduction by Jonathan Culler. I started reading this at the beginning of the school term because I'm in a literary theory course, and I was very nervous about it. It just scares me like nothing else. And then, oh Lord, I am reading House of Leaves by, I'm gonna butcher this last name, Danielowski? I don't know. There it is. This massive 700-page book has been taking me a long time to read. Probably because I'm reading every single word in it, even though I probably don't have to. I'm not really sure what my thoughts are on this yet. It's a very hard book to describe. There's a lot of narrative layering happening. It's deliberately meant to be confusing. My main issue with it is that I don't love any of the characters in it. I'm interested in the concepts in this book, and by the way that it is formatted, and by the way that it is asking you to question the narrative reality. But I don't really care about some of the narrative plot lines. I don't care about any of the characters right now. There is confusion in my mind about how I feel about this book. And then I just thought that I would show you, as well as what I'm currently reading, some of my favorite books of all time, just to kind of give you an idea of the kind of books that I like to read. They're sitting over here, so if I keep reaching over here, that's why. Okay, also, by the way, if you're wondering what this dangly thing is here. I have a hanging plant. It's an asparagus fern. And it looks really weird when you can't see that the plant is up there, but that's what that is. So, yeah. What was I saying? Okay, so I think that you can tell a lot about a person by their favorite books. Sorry. Hi! Do you want to come here? Come here! Come here! It is no news to anyone that books have the power to change how we view the world, how we live our lives, and are motivated and inspired. So yeah, I'm just gonna show you these, talk a little bit about them. Fern is gonna do something. Okay. He almost knocked over my tea. What a scoundrel. Also, I've just remembered another book that I have to add to this pile, so I'm gonna go get that. Also, I change my mind on this matter all the time. So, to begin, Oscar Wilde, The Picture of Dorian Gray. I mean, if you know, you know. I've actually never met anyone who's read this and hasn't liked it, so wild. Love him so much. If you are someone who has not read a lot of classics or isn't super into reading, but you want to read something on the shorter side, more accessible, this is definitely a really good place to start. Oh, it's just so good. Thank you, Oscar Wilde. A lot of these are classics. I have just come to really appreciate classics as well through my degree. I loved them before, and I love them even more now. So that is why there are so many in this list. But next up I have William Faulkner's Absalom, Absalom. Now this is not an accessible read. I would not suggest this book if you are starting out with classics. It is very hard to read. Sentences span for pages on end. The narrative goes back and forth. There's no rhyme or reason. Well, there is, but as you're reading, it is very difficult to understand this book, especially on a first read. I read this for a class, and I don't think I would love it as much if I didn't have the teacher that I had. Also, the ending, it is so worth it. Love it. Okay, next is Ernest Hemingway's The Sun Also Rises. This book is very, very dear to me. Hemingway is hit or miss for a lot of people. I love Hemingway's concise writing style. I would say this is also a very accessible classic if you're looking to get started, especially with Hemingway. I would start here. It was his first novel, and I think that it is his best by far. There is just something about it that is so raw and human, and I pretty much read this once a year. I love it so much. Next, switching it up from novels to plays, we have Shakespeare's Macbeth. Now, I have to say, I love Shakespeare. I love all the Shakespeare I've read, but Macbeth is by far my favorite. It's very dramatic. The characters in it are great. There are so many characters. There are magical elements. I feel like this is a good time to mention also, there might be some Harry Potter fans out there. This book is very Slytherin. Moving on. This is also in no particular order. This is totally random. This is just how I pulled them off of the shelf. Next up is To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf. Not super accessible. Similar to Faulkner, a lot of run-on sentences, a lot of confusion, but again, amazing ending. Thinking about how this book ends still makes my heart just leap and jump for joy. You just have to go in. If you're gonna do it, do it. Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird. If you haven't read this, please read it. The movie is also great. Wow. I'm due for a reread of this. Wow. Atticus, come through. Beautiful. Next up is Richard Adams' Watership Down, and I just have to look at this beautiful edition. Wow. Another thing about me is I have a really random obsession with connection to rabbits. It might be because of children's literature and because there are a lot of rabbit/hare figures in literature, you know, even from Aesop's Fables to Watership Down. It is just something that has always been very familiar to me, something symbolic that I've always connected with. I have a rabbit tattoo on my arm. I just, if there is a book with rabbit characters in it, I am there. Like, please. There's a bookmark in it because I am kind of, I don't know. My boyfriend is reading it, kind of because I'm forcing him to. I think that he wants to, but also I think he feels like he has to. I don't really know what to say about this, except that it's amazing, and you should read it. I love it. Oh, it is so near and dear to me. Love it so much. Of course, I had to mention Haruki Murakami. I've chosen Norwegian Wood. I think the reason I like this so much is that it kind of is similar to Hemingway's The Sun Also Rises. It gave me very similar feelings, but Haruki Murakami's writing never fails for me. It's always beautiful. I love his stranger tales, but there's something about this one that as soon as I finished reading it, I was like, I need to read that again. It's just like, oh, highly recommend. Beautiful. Okay, this one is kind of, it's a favorite, but I don't think it's like I don't think it's a fantastic, amazing book that everyone needs to stop and read immediately, or that everyone even needs to read at all in their lifetime. But this book meant a lot to me when I was younger, and it still pervades my current life and mind, and that is Donna Tartt's The Secret History. This book has been shared with many friends, so the spine has seen better days, but that's okay. I kind of like how it looks. It makes it feel even more loved just in how worn it is. But I'm sure this book is very well known. It is the quintessential dark academia. I don't have much else to say except that it really made me want to go to university and study classics, and I did take a couple of classics courses, but then I realized that no, they are not like the classes in The Secret History, and I think for good reason, which I've realized as I've matured. If it was like The Secret History, we'd be in trouble. But all that to be said, I loved those courses. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Had to mention it. Next is Daphne du Maurier's Rebecca, and I love this edition of it so much. I am not a huge fan of mysteries, but there is something about this that the twist, the spin, it gets me every time I think about it. The first time I read it, I literally remember just putting down my book and my heart was beating really fast, and it had left its physical mark on me. Like, I'm still in shock by how that was pulled off. I think it's great. It's great in how it really makes you question yourself, because there are some very confusing, conflicting, like, there's no way to feel. Like, all ways are bad. That doesn't make sense unless you've read this book. Just read it, please. It's so good. I only have 2 more, and these are books that I feel like everybody says are their favorites, and for good reason. So I'm not gonna dawdle on as I have been, because it's too much. I'm talking too much. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. I've actually never read out of this edition. I just got this for Christmas. I like it so much. It's cloth bound. It's so pretty. And I love it because the edition I had before was an ugly Broadview edition, and well, I still have it, but it's just really unpleasant to look at, and sometimes when you love a book, you really just want to have a nice edition of it. And I just love this book so much. Great classic. Again, if you're looking for somewhere to start, definitely Frankenstein is a must. And then lastly, which will come as no surprise, is L.M. Montgomery's Anne of Green Gables. And I love this edition of it so much. Beauty. Also, highly recommend the Netflix adaptation of it. Season 1 is amazing, and then it just gets better and better from there. So sad that they canceled it. But I'm due for a rewatch of that, a reread of this. Anne is just, what a queen. We all want to be her. We cannot be her, sadly. But that won't stop us from dreaming. What am I saying? Okay, so I don't think I have much else to say. I'll close this video off here. This was just a get to know me. So yeah, I hope that you, if nothing else from this video, if you're stuck on what to read next, hopefully maybe you have some inspiration. These books all warm my heart, and so in the future I'll do a video where I go more into depth of why I love them, what they're actually about, what they mean to me, that type of thing. Trying to think if there's anything else I can say to introduce myself. My favorite color is green. I love plants. I have lots of plants, as you can see some of them right now. I love dogs. Random facts. I hope that you find some time to read today and cozy up with a book, and I'll see you soon. Bye!